thank you so much also from the program director. So let me just explain about this place where you are in now. Maropeng is basically a Setswana term, simply meaning that we are all coming back home, because of in Setswana they normally say Maropeng ho a boelwa, ho sa boeleng ke teng. And then indeed here we are still home. Then the reason why they had to call it the birthplace of humankind, it is simply because of where we are now. This is where it is believed that our human ancestors used to live for over 3 million years back. So by coming here today, that's almost like visiting the birthplace of Ubuntu, or the birthplace of humanity. So this place was officially opened in the year 2005 on the 6th of December by the Honorable former President, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, so that the place can be almost like the interpretation center for discoveries that were made in the cradle of humankind and different parts of the world as well. Then, since South Africa as a continent produced much evidence about human origins, then scientists apparently started to take 5 popular places as the birthplace of humankind why those places are situated in Africa. So those places are South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Chad, whereby in Ethiopia, that's where they discovered the famous hominin fossil of Lucy in the year 1974, and that discovery was made by Professor Donald Johansen. Then at Chad in Central Africa, that is where they discovered the famous hominid fossil that was dating back to 7 million years old. So that is the oldest female ancestor we know of up until to this day. Then looking at parts of Kenya as a country, that's where they discovered the famous fossil hominins known as Kenyanthropus. And then in Tanzania, that place actually hosts most of the oldest evidence of footprints that were once preserved at that place in Olduvai Gorge. So those footprints, they actually decided to name them Laetoli footprints. Then South Africa on its own, this place becomes the richest fossil site worldwide, simply because of where you are now. This is where most of the dolomitic limestone caves are situated at. Then the most popular one within the 15 that we have in Gauteng, that's the Streekfontein caves, and those caves are about 10 kilometers away from where we are now. So those were the caves that started producing more than 1,600 fossils, including the 2 famous ones, which is the skull of Mrs. Pless, soon to be Mr. Pless, by the way, because they had to go on a debate about the gender of that fossil. Then the other famous fossil that was discovered at Streekfontein Caves is the famous fossil of Littlefoot. So Littlefoot became the most remarkable discovery ever made in the history of paleoanthropology, simply because of that skeleton is the almost complete skeleton from head to toe with 32 teeth in position, and the age of that fossil goes back to 3.67 million years old. Now that fossil becomes the oldest for us in South Africa, but not worldwide, simply because of the oldest one discovered worldwide dates back to 7 million years old. Then there's also other popular fossil sites that are out of Gauteng as a province. As I've mentioned, that Gauteng has almost about 15. Then the other fossil site is actually located in Limpopo at Makapans Valley. Then the other one is in the Taung, which is in the northwest. So the Taung site produced the famous fossil of the Taung child in 1924. And that discovery was made by Professor Raymond Dart. So that Taung child skull became the first Australopithecus africana skull to be discovered worldwide. Then the Taung child also, we refer that fossil as a family, the same family as Mrs. Pless, who was Mrs. Pless as well, simply because of Australopithecus africana species started emerging from about 4 million years old. So Taung child is dating back to 1.97 million years old. So this area produced the likes of Australopithecus sediba as well, whereby sediba's discovery was made in the year 2008 by Matthew Berger, who was 9 years of age at that time. So Matthew Berger is the son to Professor Lee Berger, whereby the father, Professor Lee Berger, made a remarkable discovery of almost human individuals in the year of 2013 in the month of September at the Rising Star Cave. So most of these fossil sites, as I've mentioned, they are located within the Cradle of Humankind. And most people know this area as being taken as a World Heritage Site. So the reason why they had to take it as a World Heritage Site is this because of where you are. This is where most of the oldest human origins discoveries were made. So for us at Maropeng, as I've mentioned, that we have decided to be almost like the interpretation center for all those discoveries that were made. And then later we also had decided on coming up with a collaboration that was made from the year 2008 with the Department of Basic Education in order to to create a healthy relationship within the tourism department and also towards the Department of Basic Education, because of this is actually the, part of the curriculum with regards to life science. So as Maropeng, we also decided to assist further towards our learners, our fellow learners, mostly in local schools or local communities. So lately we have been also doing visits to some schools in order to assist them further with this human evolution theory, which was articulated by Charles Darwin those many years back. So furthermore, we also have a percentage of about 37 pass rate due to our contribution and the visits made in the Cradle of Humankind. And then we also, can I please hold this? Okay. And we are also proud to say that we have hosted about 7 million people altogether where you are at Maropeng for the past 20 years, because for this year of 2025 in December, Maropeng will be in celebration for 20th year celebration since the place was officially opened in 2005. Then right now, we are very pleased to have you here as in Bogoto to come and celebrate this day with us, the Women's Day. And so I hope from here then you will enjoy your stay with us at Maropeng, and thanks for celebrating the special day with us at our place, the birthplace of humanity. I thank you so much.
Thank you, really. It's actually quite interesting to hear all of those facts. You know, I know many of us here, we are teachers, except for me. I am not a teacher. I am not. I'm a child of a teacher, but I am not a teacher. I think before we welcome our keynote address, I would like to call Lizette Leroux, who is the Acting Deputy Director of Student Development at the University of South Africa. Good morning.
Good morning.
What a beautiful place to be, and thank you, Maropeng. And also, how beautiful is the woman that's gracing this place. Thank you. My name is Lizette Leroux, and I'm standing in for our Dean of Students with just a few message of support remarks. The first one, we are excited about this collaboration because in this journey of empowering ourselves, empowering women, empowering each and every child, and not to leave a child behind, we need each other. We can't do it alone. So both academic, educators, NGOs, we need to stand together and see what we need to do to take every child along, which is an enormous task to do. The second point is that we need active community engagement with each other. We have spheres of specialization which we can offer, and you have the practical implementation and the communities in which we can offer that. And we're excited about that. And in the holding room, I was so fortunate to meet such powerful women, Ma. I always wanted to meet you, and it is such an honor. And I think the Deputy President, I say no more. then also your educator to meet you and to hear your dedication to online platforms. Another phase and another focus to be relevant in the 21st century. I laughed at the program director. She said she's old school. Well, I'm so old school, I had my phone with my speech. Our students also use their phones. I couldn't make it not to switch off, and I have my notebook. But I thought I will speak from the heart. So thank you for that. So we need to expand on our online platforms. I want to end to say that we also deal with a reality of GBVF, and we cannot leave here without connecting with that. We were Thursday in East London with our Eastern Cape students, and while we were busy with the program, we got news that one of our students was killed by her partner. And she was a second-year nursing student. So that child got through the system, got into higher education, only to be killed by an intimate partner. And unless we get that under control, through all the programs, through all the online education, through all our advancements, if we're not going to address and seriously address GBVF, we're not going to make headway for each and every child. Because one of the questions in our workshops, we ask, what's the biggest fear for you? And the students and the women are sitting there. We work with both men groups and female groups. And for the woman, it's, fear I'm not going to survive South Africa. And we need to take that on. And I know with your commitment to children, that we need to care deeply about our children, that they don't need to experience GBVF growing up, both as male children and as female children. And with that, I give over to you, and Watinga Abafazi.
When we were deciding on what to speak about, we had a huge debate. Our debate was, here's your phone. Yeah. Our debate was, because it was very easy, because today is Women's Day. Today actually is the 69th anniversary. My mother is 70, and she's pretty old. I'm not saying that she looks old, I'm sorry. But what I want to relay is that my mother is 70 years old this year. And I am nearly 40. She had me very late in life. And when I think about 69 years ago, when I think about it and I think about my mom, it's a pretty long time ago. It's a pretty long time ago. And every year we come together as women and we speak. And we speak on GBV, we speak on all of these things. Then we go back to our little lives. And we live our little lives. And then next day it's the 9th of August again. And then we come back. I don't know why we do that, but we do it. But as I was saying earlier, when we were debating the topic, we wanted to say bring every girl child. That's the biggest thing. And then Ribila here from Mlambo Foundation, she's a fierce feminist, by the way. She said, but you can't say bring every girl child as if boy children don't exist. And part of the problem is that we like to speak about GBV and all of these other issues as if women are this small corner in the world that exist by themselves. And then I don't know when men exist, they exist somewhere. And which is very important what you said now. We need to bring every child. And I am of an opinion, because I'm a mother now, that even as we parent our children, we need to think about the violence that we teach them. Because we think that kids learn violence on TV. No, they learn it from us. We discipline them. And that is the violence that we teach our children. But anyway, we need to move on very quickly. I'm going to welcome our keynote address. And I was doing a little bit of research about her. Of course, I knew that she was deputy president. I think everybody knows that. But the most interesting part about Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka is that she's a teacher. And I didn't know that. And I think it makes sense for who you are, that you are a teacher. Because teachers are a very important part of our society. I don't say that because my mom is a teacher and then I benefited from that. No. I'm saying it because if you look at every school, there are more women than male teachers. Yeah. And we wonder why. Men are not running to become teachers. They don't look at it as a profession but we, because we're women and we're nurturers, we will run to that profession because it's an important profession. So it was very, very, very amazing to learn that she is a teacher. And then she had a little job as deputy president of South Africa. She did that on the side. She was like, I can do this one. It was a side hustle. She's like, I can be deputy president. It's fine. You know? But then she held a very important post. She became the head of women at the UN. Wow. Now I can remember that because I was grown. And I think it says something about you and who you are when the General Secretary of the United Nations can say, please come have this job. I don't think they can say to anyone, especially in the world that we live in. It must take a very special person to occupy that post and to do it well. So I would like to welcome her, and I'd like her for us to you know, Basari bombe. Ikamala makozi gazi mali bongwe. Ikamala makozi gazi mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Ikamala makozi gazi mali bongwe. Ikamala makozi gazi mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Ikamala makozi gazi mali bongwe. Ikamala makozi gazi mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe. Mali bongwe.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the kind introduction. Thank you to the introduction and the explanation of what Maropeng is all about. I think at South Africa, we really must invest a lot of our time and enjoy these amazing sites that we have in our country, isn't it? Yes. Because I think people travel from around the world to come here and we've got the treasure. And thank you for looking after this property so well. I'm now a bit conflicted because like the Vice Dean, myself, the mayor, and other people were at the holding room, and we were with the leader of this group. I think she leads the circuit, and she just turned our minds upside down. There she comes. Yeah, no, just so inspiring. When I grow up, I want to be like you. And I had not been fully aware that this audience is going to be an audience of teachers. And this is something that I value a lot, because I chose to be a teacher. Every other thing that I've done chose me. But the one that I chose for myself was to be a teacher. So you can never take it out of me. I appreciate the work that you do, because this is the mother of all professions, right? Everyone who is standing in front of the stage making a brilliant point, they can do so because a teacher taught them. Anyone who writes a good book and is able to pass on an amazing message can do so because a teacher taught them. Everyone who does critical thinking and is able to be analytic and make profound contribution to society, they do so because a teacher handheld them. So we really have to protect, nurture, and love this profession. I know that also to be a teacher and a woman is a double-edged sword, because there are challenges in being a woman anywhere in society. Women teachers also have their special challenges, but we must never allow that to put the woman educator down, because without you, literally the world has no future. This is how much we have to hold up and hold forward. And then, of course, you have a responsibility for the learners that spend the large part of their lives in your care. That is a unique opportunity to shape and influence. And for me, that is what attracted me to education. That I have a constituency that I can invest in, and I can bring out the best that those children have in them, so that when I hand them back to society, I have been able to say, look at God's fantastic creation. Look at what me and God created. But we think of a girl child as someone who faced particular challenges. And this is something I want to talk about a little bit, because that is our responsibility, right? Mm-hmm. This year, we are celebrating 30 years of the Beijing Declaration. You remember that declaration? That 30 years ago, women went to China in Beijing, and for the first time in the world adopted an agreement about women's rights. Yeah. Before that, the world did not have an agreement on women's rights, which tells me, Amadoda, ayadelela. It's only just 30 years ago that they recognized that women were people too. There was an agreement about cats, about trees, and nothing about women. And to arrive to a point where that agreement was made, it took about 15 years. The United Nations convened member states in Mexico. They convened member states 5 years later in Denmark. They convened member states a few years later in Kenya. Then finally they convened them in China, Beijing. That is where an agreement was arrived at. And that is what was called the Beijing Declaration. The African women who attended that conference were amazing in fighting for the women's rights, because most of the delegations that were in China, in Beijing, were led by men. Because in most countries, we did not have any women's ministries, in most countries, there were no, of course, no head of state was a woman, etc., etc. So the people who really made sure in Beijing that the focus stayed on improving the women's rights were women from civil society, women from NGOs who attended there, who accompanied their member states. Because when you call a United Nations conference, you call member states, you call countries that are members of the UN, and it was those countries that were led by men. Fortunately for us in South Africa at that time, it was 1995, so our delegation was led by Nkosazana Zuma, and it was formidable, I must tell you that. The women in Africa, from Africa at that conference, were the ones who put the matter of the girl child on the agenda. So this is your issue. You, African, you and your foremothers were the ones who said, Betunana, there is a children's rights declaration, but children doesn't cover it all. The girl child is the one who is sometimes denied education in some families because she's a girl. A girl child is the one who sometimes to marry indoda endali ngudu yendoda because she's a girl. A girl child is the one who experienced genital mutilation because she's a girl. So there is a special situation for the girl that the world has to understand. Hence, in the Beijing Declaration, there is a clause about the girl child. Now, as we then bring up the girl child, we have to be breaking down all these barriers that this girl will face in her life. Many of the countries that were there were not even thinking about women's rights as rights. The president of America at that time was Bill Clinton. And I think now we all know that the world can go this way or that way, depending who's the president of the most powerful country. If we were to call that conference today with a president that is there in America, it will be a remorse. The delegation of the United States was led by Hillary Clinton, and that made a big difference, because the first sentence that came out of Hillary's mouth was that women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights. And that is how this conference is going to be. And by that time, women in civil society had been mobilized, and all of them agreed with her. So as we get into the classroom and we have to deal with the girl child, we must remember that we have to give her confidence. Confidence, because she is going to face a pushback. A pushback which can take away even some of the strengths that she has, which could give her an advantage in the many of the situations that she would face. We have to make sure that we train her to make sure that when she enters into any situation, she must start the job and she must finish it. She must not be a quitter. And you must repeat those things so that she actually hears your words. She gets home, she tells her mom, Mama, uti utishara. I cannot leave something undone. And also, we must nurture critical thinking. At a very early age, the why questions. You know how the little ones are always asking us why? Entertain those questions. That is how critical thinking evolves. Though that curiosity is what is the genius of the child, which we must entertain. And of course, we're now living at a time of digital literacy. So we are having to nurture a mind that will be living in a world that will move ahead of her. So we have to teach her not only to understand and use whatever digital assets that she will have in front of her, but she must also be in a position to create the digital pathway for herself and her peers. We must make sure that girls are not just consumers of technology, but they are the creators of technology. We know that the algorithms of technology do not always work for women, do not always support and nurture and make sure that the girls will be the best they can be. It is because there's very few women who participate in creating technology. So just as much as we have to tell our girls that we are not teaching you so that you will be a worker. We are teaching you to be a boss. Who boss are we? You know, they must just know that they are going to school. That is what we want from them. So that's confidence. And of course, we have to remember the importance of STEM subjects. I think we've been talking about that, but also to recognize that STEM is not everything. Some children have a talent of being nurturers in a community context, of being caregivers. That too is a skill which we must make sure that we raise up, but we also highlight the value of it. But STEM is important because this is what makes the world run. The skills that are needed. And we must expose them to the job opportunities that they would have and make sure that they know that the jobs that are meant for men in general, today they are meant for them too. Expose them to other women who are doing those jobs, because there is nothing like a role model. When a girl sees someone who is like them doing something great, then they say, you know, there is nothing like a role model. Teach the young girls financial literacy from an early age. Mom niki pocket money yakhe uthi ngikunike i-5 rand namhlanje uzothengani, i-change yakhe izothini, uzosave antoni kuyo, tomorrow uzabuna malini ufisebe. Engage in those conversations, because mina, women of my generation, money was not something that we were encouraged to spend a lot of time on. As a result, as NGOs, you thought that as women NGOs, man fundraise, what kind of money can you make out of that? Nobody was telling us about investments and the fact that having serious money is your thing as a woman. It's an important builder of your future, of the difference you have to make in society. Abangayisaba abantwana babantombazana imali. Mabayithande. Kodwa bayithande kahle. You know, bangayithandi ukuthi njengalabo batshontsha isinabo la in our country. They must know that this is something useful that they must have, and they must know how to look after it and how to nurture it. They must know that they have rights. Right? Teach the girls about, and it was, you can teach them in an age-appropriate manner, that they know their rights, that when something happens to them that is a violation of that right, there is a pathway, that there is somewhere where you take your complaint and you demand action when you have been violated. I mean, I was listening at this case of this child of 4 years old who has died, who was molested by the father and was actually killed. And the mother had observed this going on in front of her. And then you are like, in what world do we live in where something like this happens to a child? At a very young age, let us make sure that our children know that nothing like that should happen to them. And you as teachers are the best thing ever in that child's life, that can really be with a child, nurture her, show her, and be the person that she comes to when she has a situation that is making her uncomfortable. Make sure that you are an open book so that when the child feels constrained and doesn't know who to go to, you are the first person that comes to her mind, because she knows that in you there's open arms. You are a listener and you are going to help her. I wish you all the best. Me, I work for Mlambo Foundation, and we are cutting a relationship with Bujanala because we work with school principals. We support leadership development in school principals and the many challenges that principals face. We think that every school can be a best school if they have a good principal. Yes. Even if it's a poor school, the principal who's walking tall, who's got a straight line, onga donji, onga puzi, you can change the situation around, right? And we also work with teachers of maths, of science, and accounting, and we train those teachers to be the best teachers in teaching those subjects. We also work with teachers who teach technology, particularly robotics and coding. And then at foundation level, even though we're not as good as we want to be, but otherwise we are part of a reading panel that is promoting reading, writing, and counting at the early age, supporting teachers to do that job as best as they can be. And we are also training teachers of early childhood development. So these are the different entry points that, if God willing, we would like to bring to Bujanala, and we would love to work with you. And of course, we believe so much in technology and what technology can do in a school. We want all our teachers to be tech savvy. We have a program which we are running with a trainer that we had who was based in Dubai, but training teachers in Vembe online. And if you see those teachers, I sukama. So happy Women's Day and all the best.
I think now we understand why I said being deputy president was a little job. Her best job was being a teacher. You know, thank you, Ma. Thank you so much for those insights. You know, as you were speaking, I was thinking now, so I work in civil society, and I keep thinking that, you know, there's so many new challenges in the teaching profession, you know, and I'm thinking that even the old problems have not left. There are new problems. You know, we have a new thing now, neurodivergency, you know, of children with special needs. And we have children with autism and ADHD and dyslexia. And it seems like we think it's a new thing. But apparently it's been here for a very long time, you know. And when you say take care of the girl child, it's interesting when you say girl children are more likely to be diagnosed with autism when they are 30 years old. But boys at 6 years old, which is a very, very, very weird disparity. That how do you go from birth to 30 years old and nobody sees that you've got autism, but this one, we can see at 6 years old that they've got this problem. So I'm thinking about all the challenges that all of you have to see in the classroom, and also the financial literacy that Ma spoke about. Finance is security for women. And I like to, when you say they must love money, women must love money. It is your only protection as a black woman. If you do not have money, you are open to anything. You talk about the 4-year-old whose mother, did you see the place that we're living in? Finance is protection. I cannot say it enough. I say it every day to my colleagues. I say it to people in the taxi. I say it on the how train. Finance is your only protection. And when you touched on STEM subjects, ma'am, I read a report recently, I just forgot who wrote the report, that because we're moving into 4IR and all of these nice things that we like to talk about, one of the things that people would need to know is maths literacy. And I don't think we teach our girls enough maths, because if you go into, we always say that most girls go into university, but if you go into the engineering faculties, there's not a lot of girls. And those are the things that we need to think about, that even when the girls get into university, what are they studying? and why are they studying it. So thank you, Mama. So now we are going to have a panel discussion, and it's going to be led by me, Agnes Rassisimula. I had to practice that surname today. I had to practice it and say Rassisimula. She is the circuit manager for Witoko, which is in the Bujanala district. She will be speaking with the mayor, the executive mayor. No, I should say it this way. The sitting executive mayor of Rustenburg, Ms. Sheila Mabalehuma. It's quite interesting that she's the mayor of a municipality that's got over 500,000 people. So you're doing a big job. You know, you are a big girl doing a big job. I'm very proud of you. And then we've got the acting dean at the College of Economic Management Sciences, Dr. Masachaba Mandeb. Now, today is actually my first day being a program director in my life. So I was told that I need to do a lot of research. So last night I was on Google. I was doing everything to make sure that today my English is good and I don't sound like I don't know what I'm doing. But when I read your story, Masichaba, it hit me so hard. You know, you have an incredible story. Like, I cannot believe there's somebody like you exists in the world. No, I will tell you the story when you say what. So, Masachaba used to work at a kiosk. A kiosk is like spaza, but for white people, kiosk. You know, but as it's spaza, they'll always say, you know, they'll say kiosk. Yes. And she saw, is it an advert, inviting people to come study at UNISA. And today she's an acting dean. Do you know how hard you have to work to be a black woman? To work at a spaza and to one day have a PhD in the economic and management sciences at Africa's largest university. So this is not a nobody. This is somebody we can look at and be like, the women in 1956 were working. They were working for her. Here's an example. They did it. If we had to write a report to those women now, if they could, you know, come back, we say, yeah, here's your product. Here is why you were working that day. So I think you have an amazing story. And I like stories like this because in our country, we actually have a lot of these stories, but we never talk about them because there's always bad news. Every other day on Twitter, we are swearing at each other. We are swearing at Elon Musk. We are swearing at Trump. But we have real stories that could inspire us to do better and to be better people. So I don't want to waste any more time because Dr. Mandebu's story is amazing. I want to call on Agnes, who is actually a superstar teacher. Yes. You know how about Beyonce, former teacher? You know, like a real Beyonce of teachers. Like the one, you know, between Kelly and Michelle. She can, you know. So she's going to come here. So you can sit on, is it fine, ma'am? Okay. And then she's going to facilitate this discussion right now. Mama, welcome. Here's your mic. Yeah, you can sit here.
Thank you, Ole, for the opportunity. Okay, sorry. All right. Can I please just take this opportunity to greet our dignitaries, the Witoko Circuit team that comprises of the school principals, the SMT members, the teachers, as well as the SGB chairpersons. and colleagues and the house at large. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so overwhelmed with emotion and gratitude, hence, Can I please start off by just introducing myself? I am Agnes Sagaka Rasesemula, the proud circuit manager of Witoko, a vibrant and diverse circuit under the Rustenburg Local Education Office. And it is my privilege to facilitate today's important panel discussion, seated alongside my executive mayor, Dr. Masichaba, as well as Mama. I know I could have met you in 2023 already, but there's been ups and downs. And today I am very much privileged and honored and grateful to be here, not by myself, but with my team. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, it is my privilege to facilitate or moderate today's important panel discussion following a powerful keynote on how we can advance every child, especially those from rural communities, into the 21st century. Today on Women's Day, we honor the women, Mama specifically, whose courage, resilience, and sacrifices paved the way for the opportunities we now have to shape the future. This morning, I returned fresh from a benchmarking trip to Umlazi District, Phumelela CMC, with 6 school principal and their SMT members from Witikong Township. These schools represent 40% of our circuit and serving over 7,469 learners. And when it comes to matric results, they are giving the circuit 48%. So meaning that if those 6 schools can sneeze, the entire circuit will catch the flu. So therefore, the trip was not just an exchange of ideas, it was a living example of the theme of today, which is from rural communities to global readiness. We went to learn strategies to take our learners and prepare them to be confident, competitive participants in the 21st century. This is part of our Witoko Circuit vision and 5-year plan, which aims at having functional schools at every community and the Witoko circuit positioned as a premier circuit. I can't be the ordinary circuit manager. I want to be a circuit manager of a premier circuit that sets the national benchmark for excellence. So today we are going to be unpacking practical, innovative, and collaborative strategies to ensure that every child, especially those from rural communities, like I said, thrive in the 21st century. And I'm happy that the delegation here is a representation of the entire circuit, including the Quintal 4 schools. I see Mr. Shabir from Fields College, there he is. So I'm happy that you accepted the invitation and you came here and I gave you the theme. You see, the theme was not even coming from the event. I gave you the theme and you looked very beautiful. So now let me not waste time, but briefly introduce our distinguished panelists, and I will do it summarized because Ole has, went deep into her research. I will start with my mother here next to me, Honorable Sheila Mabale-Huma, the Executive Mayor of Rustenburg. She recently launched the impactful Back to School program, delivering essential learner materials in rural schools and embodiment of municipal commitment to learning. Also, it is my honor to briefly introduce Dr. Masichaba Mantepu, the active executive dean of UNISA College of Economic and Management Sciences, a leader in fostering university community connections, such as the stakeholder engagement session in Guyana to enhance rural access and responsiveness. Lastly, Umama, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, the former Deputy President of South Africa, the patron of the Indaba Foundation, and a tireless advocate for early childhood development and literacy through initiatives like the 2030 Reading Panel, the Indaba Foundation ECD programs, and the Mlambo Foundation. Thank you very much. Let us welcome them. Now, together with our panelists, we are going to be exploring how municipalities, the higher education, in this case the DHET, and the advocacy can unite to create practical, sustainable pathways for rural learners to thrive globally. Now, before we begin and before I ask my panelists the questions, I want to say to you, I'm made aware that we are also having the business people in our midst, and I believe you know what that means. So now, as we begin, I will start with you, Executive Mayor. Now, through initiatives like Back to School program, you have shown that municipalities can make direct impact on learning in rural areas. Based on your experience, how can local municipalities work hand in hand with schools to bridge the rural-urban resource gap? And looking ahead, what key infrastructure priorities from classrooms to connectivity will truly enable rural learners to be globally ready? So the question is in two parts. Oh, sorry. I was not even looking. Thank you, ma.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rasisemola. This name is so difficult. Yeah, maybe let me first take the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of our former Deputy President, Phumzile, and the presence, of course, of everybody who make sure that you come in today's activity. I think it is important, firstly, to outline what local government is, and then answer your question. One, I will also want to put a disclaimer that earlier on, somebody spoke about public participation. And a disclaimer that I would want to put is our communities, including yourself, teachers, you are not participating. And when we call community meetings, you are not coming, you are not participating. And all the professionals, you leave it out to those that do not even understand the role. And that thing on its own is a gap that we have to close. We have to work together in making sure that our country is a better place for everybody, including ourselves. So the role of local government, as in Constitution, is we have to give services to the people. But local government must work together with the provincial and national government, hence the intergovernmental relations. So what we do, if I even give practical example of what we do in Rustenburg. Rustenburg is one of the municipalities that is surrounded by the mines. So Rona, for us to live, you must pay for services, unfortunately. And then with the money that we receive, we build out 2 communities. But issues of education is within provincial sphere of government. But that doesn't mean that as local government, you must not take part in making sure that the gap that is being identified by provincial government through education, we are not coming in. That is why we are having the collaboration with both the departments, working together in making sure that we assist our schools. In Rustenburg, for example, we are having a collaboration with the mines that are surrounding us. Unfortunately, we don't have a budget as the municipality, but through the collaboration that we are having with the mines, we are able to assist the schools that we are having around Rustenburg. Through what we call the social labor plans that the mines are expected to do or to contribute in communities. That's why we identify the gaps, especially that are education related, to say to the mines, what is it that you can do to assist us? Because obviously all of us, to be where we are the products of learning. We are the products of our own schools. And we must make sure that we put more on our learners. And what one has noted, Dr. Rasisemola, is that, I don't know whether it's only in Rustenburg, but I think it's countrywide. There's some sort of a syndicate being targeted to young people. You are having next to each and every school a spaza shop that are selling something like drugs, that are selling sweets, then that is why, as the municipality, we have made an audit of all those spaza shops with an intention to even close them. Because we are saying our learners, our young people are our future. But if we are not going to nurture them by now, I can tell you we'll perish as a country. We'll not have anybody to refer to as future. So that is why it is important to take care of a girl child, and not only a girl child. Because if you only bring in the girl child and leave along the boy child, that's where you're going to have a problem. So as the municipality, that is the collaboration that we are having. Even though our communities are fighting for us to say we don't have water, we don't have electricity, but we're building schools through the collaboration that we are having with the mines. But we must assist them. Otherwise, if you are not going to assist them, who else will assist? But teachers, please, let's make sure that we attend public participation. You are a stakeholder on your own, to an extent that when we call stakeholder meetings, as professionals, you must come and contribute towards making sure that we shape what we want to see with our country. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, the executive mayor has highlighted the importance of public participation, especially by us, the professionals. And then she also mentioned that the local municipality has no budget, but they collaborate with the mines in order to assist us to close the resource gap. So now, Dr. Mantep, how can higher education institutions complement these by equipping teachers to maximize those resources that would have been offered by the mines or the businesses?
Dr. Let me first start by greeting my mother, Mlambo-Ngcuka, Ongawelo Muntu. Ngiyabonga, Mom. I want to take you back. I'm sorry I couldn't make it on time to meet you in the room, but it's because of her child that I had to delay. I took your child from your province that you are sponsoring with aviation fees. And I'm proud. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I had to take her to another event where she's also presenting. Thank you so much for supporting the young people. Ma'am, do you remember what you did on the 30th of November, 2006, on that day? No, you're not. 30th of November 2006 is a day I had been waiting for the 1st of December 2006 because there was an act to be signed and it seemed like no one had the guts to sign it. But you were the president on that day. And by you signing that bill, you gave me the confidence to be who I am, to rise up, to get out of banking and come into education. Because then I could stand up as a woman, as a mother, but also a wife, but not a wife to a man, and a wife to a wife. And you helped me so much because in that way, no one else could stigmatize me and my sexuality when you had signed that bill. What can higher education do? When children come to these universities, we realize that they are different. And that is what took me there. Mama said she realized that she could influence a lot. And that was for me. I could sit behind in a bank and make money and money and money, but I couldn't steal enough to educate all the children I wanted to educate. So I did not choose teaching, but it chose me. And I'm proud because when the students come to universities, we have to be their parents and take over from what the teachers did. So we are asking you as teachers to give them that confidence, to realize that they are different, but also to acknowledge who they are. We have an issue where we have taken the Western and are only living on the Western life. re kopa le ba amogeleng ka badimo le medimo ya bona, re kopa le ba dumelleng ba apare dithapo tsa bona, re ska ba ganetsa ba tla. I'm happy most of us have hair that we don't call dirty, because we usually say to children they have dirty hair. And so we can help by teaching our indigenous knowledge again. Mom said, let us protect nature and nurture critical thinking. Re ba lemoseng gore ha ba sena electricity ba ka tswela ko ntle ba gotsa mollo again outside and make food from outside. But those are things that we tend to look down on. But if we go back to where we come from, if we realize that mo Maropeng mona ke mo bophelo bo thomileng ko teng, I find some life sciences teachers disagreeing with all this that we are sitting on, and they want to argue creation and evolution. But we don't have to separate the two. We can believe in the same, not in the same thing, but we can agree to disagree and say, maybe they are correct, maybe they are not. But let us work together to ensure that we respect everybody and we do not push away those that believe in other things. And I think that can help. Then I'll come to the issue of open distance learning. Someone like me, I have a mom, Mlambo-Ngcuka, but my mother is much older and she looks much older. You are very young, Mama. My mom looks much older. I could not even bring her here because she's demented. And I must take care of her. And some of us do not believe in old age homes. And so we must understand that our girls will finish school or will get out of school, but must run home and have those roles that they must have. They must be mothers, they must be sisters, they must be aunts, but they must also be parents. And so it is for us to teach our children that they can learn out of high school, even if they're at home. And I'm proud that I work for UNISA because now our students can write exams while at home. And they can do everything without even leaving their place. Our young children leave our rural areas to come to towns to study there. And they get broken because life in these urban places are horrible. But for now, they can stay in our rural areas. They can stay back home and study and complete their degree and be ready to come and work in these places or even create jobs in the rural areas. And that is how I think higher education is assisting. It is not only UNISA that has online teaching. All the other universities are coming in, and let's encourage our learners as they apply. Let them not forget that they can still study from their homes.
Okay, thank you. I have a question that was just, I wanted to know that from the response of the executive mayor, where do you come in as D-head to support that? But then your question is from a higher education perspective, how can universities support principals and teachers in preparing learners for a tech-driven economy? And which school-university partnerships have demonstrated measurable success in achieving that?
The university they have something called community engagement that they must work on. If ela ko UNISA ya rona e kgolo hobane ha re ra rilo ruta ma teacher le di principal re a kena gore le rona re kgone go ithuta gore bona ba ruta eng ba ka re ruta eng. So we have what we call engaged scholarship, and we go out and we try and understand what the teachers need. In our College of Education, Professor Makwe, re na le di engaged scholarship tse ngata tse leng gore re sebetsa ka tsona. Re thusiwa le ke EDTP SETA e re fang madi a mangata gore re kgone go ya ko dikolong re ithute. As we speak on this Saturday, we have something called Future Boot Camp. In there, we are teaching mathematics from grade 8 to grade 12. So one of our leaders, Professor Mahano, are all children should be able to do mathematics and should learn mathematics. And that is why we are working on a program from grade 8 to grade 12, because most organizations concentrate on grade 10, 11, and 12, but we would like to start from grade 8. And that's what, as a university, we've been working on. Every Saturday online, there's a lesson on mathematics that anyone can come into. And we are trying to assist teachers, not to teach teachers, but to assist teachers to teach it better. And why are we saying to teach it better? Because we research on how the learners would like to be taught. Learners are not being taught as we were taught. I had to learn all the multiplication tables. If you ask me what's 13 times 13, I know from the top of my head because we used to sing it. But these learners, they don't even know what 2 times 3. If you ask, they will multiply it. And so as teachers, we need to move first and learn how to teach them. And universities must change how they teach their teachers. We also do not have teachers in maths literacy because universities are not teaching it. Maths literacy is also important in that there are learners who cannot do mathematics. I have a son, he just could not do mathematics. And when we have sufficient maths literacy teachers, then all our children will be able to do part of that maths. So please engage with universities wherever you are. Universities have a budget and they have a duty and a role and a responsibility to form part of the communities and to help the teachers in our nation. That's how we can help.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll give you an opportunity to give the panelists a round of applause because we're still going to be engaging with them. I'm also going to open questions from the audience to ask the panelists to respond to. But because Dr. Mantepu, the surname is Mantepu, the surname is Masichab.
So when we had to have children, Masamola Chabalala was going to be too long. And because Mom had signed that bill, we cut the Masamola to Mase and Chabalala to Chaba. So my surname is Masi Chaba and I use it as a name.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for the clarity. Dr. Masichaba, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering why is it written like that? Because it's not like the first letter is uppercase and the rest are in small case. Like, yes, the T, that's the capital letter. Okay, thank you. Before I can go to Uma, I believe Ule has already given us a background that Dr. Mlambo-Ngcuka is a teacher. And as much as the question that I'll be asking, I wanted to link it with you, Dr. Masichaba, to say that obviously as DBE, we are relying on DHEAD to give us the teachers who are ready, you know, because they are there with you for 4 years. And when they get into the system, we believe they are already the Z generation coming to teach the Alpha generation. So we expect them to be ready. But when they get into our institutions without being led or held by hand, they are not having the initiative to come up with all these unless they are probed to do so. And I'm saying this because I invited some of the teachers who are not even 30 years old. When you mentioned that in Beijing 30 years ago, some were not even born. So they are here. And we want them to go back to our schools and make sure that we are ready for this global readiness. We are ready to be the 21st century teachers. Because how do you prepare learners for 21st century when you are not a 21st century teacher? When you are a barrier yourself as a teacher. So we don't want teachers who are barriers. We want teachers who are enablers. Teachers who are confident in order to teach learners who will be confident. And they say we also want principals who are not just principals or leading. We want teachers, principals who are leading the learning schools. Now, Dr. Mlambo-Ngcuka, you began your career as a geography teacher. So you know what it takes to inspire learners in real classrooms, and you have gone on to champion girls' education and digital inclusion on the global stage. From that combined perspective, as a teacher, as a leader, and advocate, what must rural South Africa do right now to ensure it is not left behind in the 21st century? And how can we ensure our teachers, school leaders, and communities are aligned in preparing every child, especially girls, for a tech-driven future?
Thank you very much. I thought when I make you sit there, I am escaping. I think it's important to invest in teachers, to make sure that they provide leadership in this transitioning from being learners and schools that do not use technology and becoming a school that is tech enabled. But we need the department to have a policy that prepares the schools for that task, so that it doesn't feel like the principal or the teachers are doing their own thing. It must really feel like this is part of the curriculum, and we have to provide the infrastructure so that they are able to move forward. But I will also say to teachers and to principals, you cannot wait until everything is there. You have to keep it going, because every child's future is today. If a child is 12 years old and is in whatever grade today, this is the only day they will have at that age. They will move ahead without the skills they were supposed to have learned at that age, and that will harm them for the rest of their education journey. Every day counts. Secondly, the importance of being connected, because once the teacher is connected, then the teacher is able to connect with anyone and everywhere, so that they can self-teach. It is important that the teacher must believe in themselves and must self-prepare, because right now we have the technology that can enable you to teach yourself. I did my research for my PhD on the use of technology in under-resourced schools, just using a mobile phone. At that time, most of the schools had no connectivity, and the large number of our schools even did not have computers. But we did action research that shows that even within those schools, you can use your mobile phone. It's not adequate, but I must say, because it can be okay for the children, but not quite okay for the teachers. But I'm saying in the worst situation, even that is actually useful. But the last thing I will also say is that in many of the cases, the information that we need that is online is everywhere. You have to be curious. I, for instance, in the website of my foundation, we have a digital library for teachers. You must log into our website and go to that digital library. There is all kinds of learning tools that you can get there and use for your school, for your different grades. And this is not the only one that you have in the world. There are so many facilities like that. So I would just say that we need to meet the teachers halfway, provide them with a policy, provide them with the resources, but we also need the teachers to be curious. We need the teachers to be searching, because once they search, they'll be surprised to find the kind of information that they are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka. Let's give our panelists a round of applause for the first round of questions. Your round of applause is very, very lukewarm. Thank you very much. You know when you are in sync with someone, when you are in sync with someone, same WhatsApp group. You know how I am driven and how I don't even compromise when it comes to technology. Because you are driving the smart cars, you are using the smartphones, and you don't delegate anyone to go and do your internet banking. But when it comes to you getting into a classroom or how you prepare, now it becomes a different kettle of fish. So we are not going to allow that. Upon my appointment on the 1st of August 2023, when I met you on the 15th of September at the meet and greet session, I told you that I'm allergic to ink. I told you that you are having lots and lots of papers in your offices and old photocopiers, because even those who are using technology, you are still duplicating. You can't be having soft and hard. When we go soft, we must go soft. And I can just give you a brief background of what I did at Sunrise View Secondary. When I was appointed the principal of that school, in the bank, we had a balance of 50 rands. 50. And the teachers, when I asked them to dream and write me what they would like to see in the school, they wrote all these fancy gadgets that they would want to see at that school. And as a school principal, I had to think out of the box. Actually, I kicked the box away and became a professional beggar and begged for funding. And we managed to get the funding because all classrooms were equipped with interactive boards, even today. And we had also 2 smart boards. And we also went and benchmarked. We went to Sunwat Park in Boksburg. We went to here in Randfontein High School, because it's a paperless school, to go and learn from their teething problems so that we don't repeat the mistakes that they did. I'm saying that because a lot of you might not have enough, but you are having gadgets that are gathering dust. You don't take care of those gadgets. You are always having the dependency syndrome. And I told you can't fold arms and wait for support to walk through your corridors. So you need to market your schools and make sure that we need to move very fast. We can't be wearing the normal shoes. We need to wear the sprinting shoes. So that is why we are here. And you cannot even think that it's only schools in, where's Mr. Shabir? Is he still there? Mr. Shabir, I want to talk seeing your face. Okay. All right. Because even at a school like Fields College, with all the resources, they are underutilized because they lack the drive to actually use those gadgets and the resources. Now, what we did at Sunrise View Secondary School, whilst we had those, I managed to get sponsorship for that. I got the sponsorship for the Wi-Fi infrastructure, and then we hired from university, straight from university. Because there were 3 teachers that we got, experienced teachers. We are a new school, we want experienced teachers to teach grade 12. 3 reversed their transfers because we were giving them the laptops. So they felt they started having heart palpitations and all those things. They said their high blood is going up and all that. 3 of them reversed because they could not keep up. So we started then now from 2018 to recruit from university. And we take them straight to grade 12. And they produced the results. And a year before I ran away, after getting 100% and being the best school in the province, I ran away and then become the second manager. And the aim, why am I giving this story? The aim was to multiply. In the 28 schools in the circuit, the aim is to multiply. So I would really love you to please embrace technology and ensure that the debate that we are having today, you take it back with you to the schools. I've tried my best to train all the principals on how to use the data-driven dashboard, triple D, because you get information at your fingertips. The administrators will tell you this cannot value straight because you don't take pains to learn. So let us not, sit back. Majority of you here are women. And we said, Mbokoto. So if you are a true Mbokoto, go back to your school and apply this. Now with that, I want to say, I prepared, because if I don't prepare, I will talk the entire afternoon. I want to invite our audience to pose their questions. And then also together, let's turn those insights into action. So I'm going to give 2 on the right and then 2 on the left before we can get back to the audience. Now, as you ask your questions, please don't come up with a preamble. Shoot straight to the question, and then the panelists will note your questions. We will then try as best as we can to respond. And if you want to direct your question specifically to the executive mayor, say so. If it is to Dr. Masichaba, say so. If it is to Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, please do likewise. Thank you. Can I please see by show of hands? If you...
My name is Sinalo Machona. I do not speak Sepedi very well or any of the languages. I'm from Eastern Cape, the rural part of Eastern Cape. And I wanted to ask a question. I'm very glad to see the work that Bujanala district is doing. But how can we take some of these lessons to the forgotten parts of rural South Africa? I'm from a place called Edujwa, and it's only during elections when we see government officials coming to the rural areas, and after that, it's all disappearing. So how can we take these lessons to those rural parts of the Eastern Cape, and also make sure that those children in those areas are not left behind? And also, I wanted to ask, how can we embed financial literacy and digital literacy into our curriculum in this generation, because I think that is important as well. When I was in school, I was taught history, but it was German history. It was not even South African history. I learned about Hitler, and I was like, when I got older, I was like, wow, I should have learned about my country actually. So I think it's important that we start embedding relevant education into our curriculum as well. Thank you.
Marketing, I'll be talking to inclusive education, learners experiencing various feelings. That is my passion. To Dr. Masichab, as universities, how are we ensuring that those learners that are experiencing various learning, especially those learners that are exiting the MID schools, are accessing the qualification in order for them to access the world of work? Thank you, ma'am.
So, Dr. Don, this one on inclusive education is yours. That how do we ensure that after those MIDs, how do we integrate them into the workplace?
We must hold our corporates accountable. We give so much money from our taxes, but also from our own pockets to the big companies, but they are not giving in return. COVID-19 assisted most maths teachers to remove their blindfolds because maths teachers refused to work on technology. But COVID-19 sent us home and the maths teachers were forced. What universities did is to request the big companies to provide data for our students. And we have been buying, as higher education organizations, a lot of data from these companies. Recently, UNISA has stopped, I think with effect from last month, has stopped giving data to students. And this is because the big companies are not coming forward. We are spending and we're not getting the rewards. My UNISA is free, actually. You just need 50 megabytes, and then you get in, it's all free. But the big companies are not coming in. So we need to hold them accountable. MTN, Vodacom, Cell C, all of them. They must provide these gadgets for our people. In 1995, when I first stepped into university class, the first laptop I saw was from a blind guy because he didn't see and he worked on Braille. And a few years later, I worked with him at a company, not a few years later, years later. And I saw him again and I realized he had actually passed actuarial science and I was a dropout. And I realized that people with disabilities can actually do better. We just need the gadgets. So you are right, technology is the equalizer. And that's what we need. We need our children with disabilities to be able to get, before they get into university, they must have all those gadgets. Our learning material must turn into Braille. Our books must be translated to them in various languages, not only English, but in various languages, so that they can understand. And when we translate, it must also be culturally relevant, because if you are going to explain to a child, and then when you translate it into English, you say a person is a person. It's not culturally right. There has to be the perfect width, and technology is able to do all that. So, but we need our corporates, our minds. Meshila, you said that the minds are working with us. All these companies that are around us that are benefiting from the resources of the country and from our labor, they should be able to assist us to have all those gadgets, and we will be able to. Companies are required to have 3% of people with disabilities in their companies. Universities are also required to do that, and we are running short. It was 2%, we did not meet targets, and it's now 3%. So when you have those children with disabilities, please know that universities are looking for them. And once they are done, or not even done, please know that corporates are looking for them. We all must meet those targets of 3% disability. And let's not hide them behind the doors or think that they are not capable. They are capable. And at universities, we assist them. If there is a graph that Braille cannot translate, there is an assistant who says to the student, the x-axis the graph touches the x-axis on -2 and +2, and the y-axis at -4. And then the student knows how that graph looks. So there are explanations, and technology gets better each and every day. And hopefully one day, we have seen when Richard Dawkins passed on, we have seen that maybe in the future, technology can read our minds as well. And let's hope we will get there. No, not for the good, for those that cannot talk, that they'll be able to translate what they want. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Masichaba. The last question is, how do we then, it's because Ule here, she's now on my case, we don't have time. That's why now I'm starting to rush. How do we make sure that the expectations of the local municipality and the expectations of the community are then fused into one, such that we know how the two meet or get married?
Yeah, thank you. But I would also like to respond to the question that was asked earlier on of the people that are coming from deep rural areas, Eduja. You see, we are talking 4IR, we are taking technology, but we cannot shy away that the legacy of apartheid is still impacting negatively, especially the rural areas. And then the question will be, where do we come in as a municipality? There's no way that you can have technology or 4IR without having the proper infrastructure. And in this instance, the proper infrastructure is electricity. We are having a situation whereby in some of the municipality have the license to distribute electricity, and some of the license is ESCOM operated. Countrywide, not only from where one comes from in Rustenburg, there's a challenge, a serious challenge of electricity. To an extent that now the debate is the solar issue. Can we shift to the solar? But then that's where government comes in. especially at the deep rural communities. We must make sure that we provide proper infrastructure. We must make sure that there is electricity so that even those that are disadvantaged, they will have an access to 4IR. Otherwise, if you're not going to provide that, it would be useless. Only those that are within the city center, only those that are from urban areas will have the benefits. So that's where the role of governments come in. And the question that was asked on integration, it goes back to public participation. Before I'm the executive mayor, I'm a councillor. You know, community, when they see me, they cannot differentiate our roles. They don't even want to know and understand that we are having 3 spheres of government, each sphere with its own constitutional mandate. They want things to happen at the right time. So that's where I was saying, as government, we need to identify different stakeholders. You are a stakeholder, as teachers, falling within the professionals. So as stakeholders, Rona, as government, you are policy makers. The policies that you must come up with at your level must be informed of the policies that we are making as government. And that's where public participation comes in. You must be able to sit down with us to say, what is it that is affecting you, that you want government to change? But if you're not coming in, government want to know what is it that you want to come in. Something that I've also noted with teachers, and I'm sorry about that, is that, you know, countries, honestly, that we are benchmarking with, they are not exactly as our own country. And then each and every 5 years, when we come in, come out, we come up with different curriculum. OBE, the curriculum 2005, curriculum this, and it's so frustrating. And I think we must begin to talk about it. And after that, is then that we will know where we'll, what we want to see, especially in relation to education for our kids and for IR. But in conclusion, what I would want to share with the audience here is, as a municipality, one has noted that many at times people are talking about township economy, urban economy. So what I would want to introduce at our municipality is I want to introduce what we call a rural economy. In Rustenburg, for example, we are having rural areas with Mahosi Amararu, tribal leadership. And then we have neglected people that are at the rural areas. And when we introduce the rural economy, obviously we brought in the teachers so that we collaborate and make sure that we also attend to the need of a rural child that is out there without any learning material, without any opportunities, and collaborating with everybody, the mines, the businesses that are around Rustenburg, will make sure that we also contribute towards the lives of those that are in rural areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. How many minutes do you give me? Because I wanted to give the panelists to just, especially Dr. Masichaba and Dr. Okay. Can I please give you a minute to just close from your side, Dr. Masichaba, and then Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka?
Sure. Okay.
A minute.
Thank you. Let us teach our children to save money. Let us teach our girls to respect money, but also to be confident in themselves, to know that anything and everything is possible. Our vice principal, our principal and vice chancellor, Professor Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, always says the sky is no longer the limit. And we thank you, teachers, because you provide for us the future of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Equality and opportunity. And today we were given the opportunity to also listen to, I want to say, not just a panelist, but to our keynote speaker. So we have really learned a lot. And to the key takeaways to our panelists, we have learned that today we are not going to take a back seat because municipal partnerships will remove barriers to access. The universities equip teachers with future-ready skills, and the advocacy through Mlambo Foundation and others, we start early, especially in literacy. And then we have added issues like this adolescent girl and so forth. So now we are equipped. We are equipped, and I want to say to the Boitsoko delegation, let us take these ideas back to our schools and make them the real. We come up with the solutions and make them real for our learners. Our diversity is our strength, and together we can ensure the global readiness for all. So I want to challenge my panelists to say, I am inviting you, and I will get your contact details through your PAs. I'm not even looking at you, because I want to invite you to the platform that I'm talking about, even if it means just having a webinar, and we talk to a broader society, and maybe you'll also share a link. So we then we can be able to share and talk about the solutions, and not only come up with the problems, and share the best practices on how we go about the curriculum changes and all this. Because if we cannot be disruptive at some point in time, because now what made me to be here even today is because at times I don't comply with everything that does not make sense to me. So you need to be disruptive. As long as that will benefit your school or your learners. That is why when I was a principal, I taught my second manager that not every meeting deserves to be face-to-face. Some meetings can just be an email. Some meetings can just be a Skype session. And I don't have to submit hard copies. But then today, don't say, why do I want hard copies at times as a second manager? I will tell you in our meeting. But you know, I want everything digital, and you have learned that a lot of you no longer bring to me things that are written in ink. Even if you don't type my name, I will not write it. I refuse until you type my name. Now with that, I would like to thank everyone, the organizers, the sponsors, for giving me the opportunity, seeing it fit that I be the one moderating and facilitating this panel. I've learned a lot. It was for the first time, and I didn't want to say to Ribu, I can't do it, because opportunities find you on the dance floor, and there's always a first time. So let us, opportunities will find you on the dance floor. So I also took this opportunity to facilitate this panelist, especially because after I've learned that I will be with giants, and giants who are women, because these are the women that I look up to. And the other thing in terms of access for the local municipality, follow the page, Yaha, the executive mayor. She knows I'm a top fan. Because then you will say you don't get information. Why? Because you don't see what is it that they are doing. The only thing that I'm guilty of is I've never attended the public. Yes. So you are going to see me, and I'm going to sit in front. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll hand over to Ule Mabuye. Thank you.
Okay, I'll use this mic. Can everybody hear me? Yes. I told you she's the Beyonce. Yeah. You know, I was thinking now, Dr. Mandep, that I'm a student at UNISA. And every month at UNISA, they give you 10 gigs of data. That is the best thing ever for students, you know. And I was thinking that, you know, Mara, sometimes you must be smart. Ne? I'm also a scholar of geography. You know, this lady can hire me. I can move to the northwest and forget about something. Like, you know, so I want to work with you, Mama. I think you do incredible work. And it's not every day that we celebrate teachers, you know. We like to say these cliches, it's the mother of all professions, but we don't celebrate them enough. So, Nangra was honest. I said, this is my first program directing gig ever. I was very honest to you. So now I'm going to ask questions. It's like a little quiz. Have you guys been listening? I agree, your teachers. Yes. So I want to see, have you been listening from the beginning up until right now? So not because I'm a good student at UNISA, the African University. Yes. I wrote notes here. So if you haven't been writing notes, you have a problem. Because I'm going to ask you a question and you're not going to know the answer. And I'm going to judge you. I'm going to look at you with that eye. Get, okay. You know, so There are 5 prizes because UFM sponsored them, and UFM is a very nice radio station. And I am going to ask the first question, and if you raise your hand quick enough and you answer it right, you're going to be the winner. Right? So there are 5 prizes. So you've got 5 opportunities. All right. So the first question is, don't Google, please. Get off your phone. Don't Google. Don't use AI. No chat GPT, no DeepSeek, no nothing. No Grok from X. There's nothing. When was Dr. Mlambo-Ngcuka a deputy president? You need to answer, when did it start? And when did she leave office? Mama, you can't answer because I'm sure when you're an expert in that answer. No, Rebula, not you, because you work with Mama. Does not work that way. Sisi, I can see you Google, please stop it. Okay. You said, yeah? You are right, Hanyani. So if it was a test, you get 70.
I'm not sure about the years, but the president is correct.
You Googled. I saw you. Look at my phone. Look at my phone. When was it? I said 2005. 2008. Yes. So that's our girl. Did you see how she denied I didn't Google? She was so like, I didn't Google. Okay, and then if you were really listening, the conference that declared women's rights, where was it? That's No. And now I'm conflicted. Because this lady shouted it out. I saw it there. Okay, let's move. And I'll think of another question quickly. Okay, now I'm under pressure. Yeah. Okay, the third question. Listen very carefully. Like our former president would say, listen very carefully. Listen very, very carefully. How long has it been since the women marched to Union Buildings all those years ago? You are wrong. You are wrong. But you can't shout the answer. You know? But this lady, she was number 1, Shem. I saw her. I did. And you listen. The other teachers, they don't listen. Your story is a story that should be told over and over again. Because it's stories like yours that remind us that we are good people and that we can do good things if we focus. You know, Dr. Mlambo-Ngcuka, I can talk about you the whole day. I can write many essays. I'm from civil society, so we do that quite a lot. We write a lot of essays. I can do that work, but thank you. Thank you for giving your time. I'm sure today you had many invites, because on a day like this, a person like you is called everywhere, but you still made time for us. So I would like to give you the gifts that we have put together.